Before a man commits to you, he needs one thing. And no, it's not love, it's not chemistry, it's not even attraction. He needs to see if you'll pass this one emotional test, and most women fail it without even realizing. The hidden test before commitment. This test is invisible. He doesn't announce it. He might not even realize he's doing it, but it's hardwired into the way men decide if you're long-term or just the moment. The moment a man feels emotionally close, he disrupts the connection. Why? Because he's testing the cost of vulnerability. If he pulls back, will you panic? Will you chase? Will you spiral emotionally? This isn't cruelty, it's clarity. He wants to know, can you hold your power when things get uncertain? That's where real trust begins. But that's only part one. Next comes the second test, and this one is harder because it feels like love when it's not. When a man first starts developing real feelings, his instinct isn't always to move closer, it's often to create distance. Why? Because emotional connection feels vulnerable, and many men were taught that vulnerability is a risk, so he pulls back not because he doesn't care, but because he wants to see what you'll do when things no longer feel safe and predictable. Your reaction in that moment tells him everything. Do you chase him? Do you demand answers? Do you spiral into fear, or do you breathe, lean back, and let him come to you? The disruption isn't meant to destroy the bond, it's his way of checking, is this woman emotionally anchored? Can she handle uncertainty without losing herself? Think of this moment like an emotional storm. Most people run for cover or scream at the sky, but a high-value woman stands still. She doesn't match his pullback with panic. She doesn't give more to compensate. She simply holds her ground. That emotional stillness speaks louder to a man than any reassurance could. This test isn't about punishing you. It's a man's way of testing if the connection is safe to deepen. Because if he feels like you're only stable when he's constant, he starts to fear what will happen when real-life challenges hit. But if you stay composed in emotional uncertainty, he sees you as someone who brings calm to his chaos. The hardest part is not reacting. It's trusting yourself when everything feels like it's slipping away. But remember, the right man won't disappear because you stayed calm. He'll move closer because you did. He'll realize you're not just another woman looking for emotional security. You are emotional security. He mirrors your energy to see who you become. If you overgive, he lets you. If you over-pursue, he goes cold. He's watching. Will you abandon your standards just to keep him close? If you keep showing up fully even when he doesn't, he marks you as emotionally dependent. But if you reflect, not chase, he starts to feel emotionally safe. And now we get to the third layer of the test, the one that decides if he sees you as partner material. Men don't always say what they're thinking. They reflect, they observe, they act passive to see how much effort you'll give. If you overextend when he's under-delivering, you unknowingly show him that your value is tied to his attention. This isn't conscious manipulation, it's subconscious evaluation. What version of her shows up when I stop trying? If he stops texting first and you immediately start sending double text, long paragraphs and trying to keep the vibe alive, he doesn't think, wow, she really likes me. He thinks she needs me to feel good about herself. And the more that happens, the more he disconnects, not because he's mean, but because it feels emotionally unsafe. High value energy reflects, it doesn't chase. When he pulls back, she pulls inward. When he slows down, she gets curious but not desperate. When she senses imbalance, she doesn't fill the gap, she protects her peace. That response builds trust. It says, I'm not here to babysit your energy, match mine or fall behind. Every man respects a woman who can match his silence with self-worth. Because the real test isn't whether you'll fight to keep him, it's whether you'll abandon yourself to do it. When you hold your center, even in silence, he starts realizing, this woman doesn't need me to feel whole. She chooses me from a place of strength. Ironically, the moment you stop proving yourself is the moment he starts proving himself to you. Your restraint creates desire, your boundaries create respect, and your ability to mirror instead of perform tells him everything he needs to know about whether you are emotionally ready for a real relationship. Not just romance. Every man has a moment where he crosses a line, maybe small, maybe subtle. He's not testing your patience, he's testing your boundaries. He wants to see, do you check him or do you let it go, hoping not to rock the boat? Because here's the secret, a woman who respects herself makes a man respect her more, not less. But even if you pass those, there's one more, the deepest one, and it's the one that most women never even realize is a test. Every man has a moment early on when he does something subtle that crosses a line. Maybe it's a late reply, maybe it's a flirtation with another woman, maybe it's a comment that feels disrespectful. It's not always intentional, but it is revealing. In that moment, he watches, what will she tolerate to keep me around? Ronnie, many women rationalize. They let it go. They think if they confront it, he'll pull away. But here's the twist. Not confronting it actually makes him pull away faster, because men don't commit deeply to women who don't protect themselves. When you overlook your boundaries, he learns you'll overlook his behavior too. Ronnie's self-respect isn't about punishing him, it's about protecting your peace. It's in how you respond when something doesn't sit right. You don't yell, you don't guilt trip. You calmly communicate what you're not available for. And in doing that, you send a message that cuts deeper than any flirtation ever could. I love myself more than I fear losing you. Ronits. Men crave women they can respect, and respect is built when you show up with standards, not ultimatums. A woman who calmly walks away from what feels wrong is 10 times more powerful than one who begs for what feels right. Because one is negotiating, the other is choosing. And choice is what makes a woman unforgettable. Every time you allow something that disrespects you, you teach him that your love is for sale. But every time you uphold your boundary, you teach him your love has value. And that's what keeps a man committed. Not fear, not tactics, but the realization that being with you requires him to rise, not regress. He wants to see if you're okay without answers. Can you stay calm without being constantly reassured? Can you handle the silence without filling it with fear? Men don't fall in love in noise, they fall in love in stillness. If your confidence collapses in quiet moments, he thinks she's not emotionally ready for the weight of love. But here's the part no one talks about. The test never ends, even after he commits. This test isn't loud, it's subtle. It happens in the silence, in the slow replies, in the delayed plans. He wants to see how you respond to uncertainty. Do you demand clarity right away? Do you pressure for answers? Or do you allow the unknown to breathe, knowing your worth doesn't disappear just because he did? Emotional patience is rare. Most people rush to fill the void, but a woman who can sit in silence without spiraling sends a powerful message. I don't need constant attention to feel secure. That kind of presence doesn't just attract, it calms. And in a man's world full of noise, calm is magnetic. The truth is, most relationships aren't lost because of what a man does. They're lost because of how a woman reacts to what he hasn't done yet. When you can wait without begging, when you can pause without panicking, you show him you're already whole with or without him. Men fall in love with a woman who holds her own timeline, who doesn't force closeness, who doesn't demand speed, who knows how to slow down time instead of chasing it. That kind of woman makes a man want to earn the right to stay in her life, not because she's hard to get, but because she's not rushing to be chosen. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's presence, and when a man sees that your peace doesn't depend on him, he starts craving your presence more. The test of patience is one of the deepest, because it's not about him, it's about you, and how much faith you have in your own value. He's still watching. Do you stay high value even when you get what you want? Do you still have your own life, your own pace, your self-respect? Because many women pass the test to get the relationship and fail the test to keep it. Your consistency becomes his certainty. So what's the real test? It's not one thing. It's a series of moments where he's watching how you treat yourself. That's what makes him say, I'm safe to give her my heart. Stay grounded, stay glowing. And never lose yourself trying to pass a man's test, because the moment you stop trying, you pass all of them. The most overlooked test is the one that begins after he commits, because now he's watching something else. Do you stay the same woman he fell for? Or do you lose yourself the moment you feel safe in the relationship? Men notice when the glow fades, when the independence shrinks, when you go from radiant to reliant. Many women pour everything into getting the relationship and forget the version of themselves that attracted it. They stop doing the things that lit them up. They become overly available. They shift from mystery to management. And while the relationship may survive, the attraction begins to die. Consistency isn't about being perfect, it's about staying connected to yourself. It's staying curious about your own growth. It's making sure that you're still your first priority, because a man doesn't fall for what you give to him, he falls for what you give to yourself. And allow him to witness, the woman who stays magnetic is the one who keeps her life moving. She doesn't collapse into the relationship. She expands, she lets love support her, not define her. And in doing that, she creates a relationship where desire doesn't fade, it grows, because it's rooted in admiration, not attachment. When you remain consistent in your standards, your self-care, and your confidence, even after he's committed, he starts to feel something deeper than attraction. He feels devotion, not because you demanded it, but because you showed him that you're not just worth chasing, you're worth cherishing. If this opened your eyes to the way men test love, don't just leave with insight, leave with power. Because the moment you understand these tests, you stop chasing validation and start commanding respect. Hit that subscribe button for more content that doesn't just decode men, it unlocks you. Drop a comment below, which test hit you the hardest? You're not alone in this. We're building women who don't beg to be chosen, they choose themselves. This is Love Unlocked, and your power starts right here.